Welcome to the National Honor Society Induction Ceremony of 2019. My name is Jennifer Youngins, and I am one of the National Honor Society advisors.
My name is Mallory Yorman, and I am also a National Honor Society advisor. We would like to thank you for coming and sharing this momentous occasion with us.
First, we would like to introduce and thank members of our Board of Education, President, Mr. John Perino, other school board members, Kevin Gomez, and Mr. Vincent Crescenzo. We would also like to introduce Mr. Richard Del Moro, our Superintendent of Schools, Ms. Amy Creedon, Assistant Superintendent of Instruction, as well as our administration team at Middletown High School, Principal Tracy Sorrentino, Mr. William Donahue, Mr. Norval Connell, our House Deans, Mr. Omar Perez, Ms. Karina Acevedo, Mr. Dwayne Whitaker, Ms. Holly Marcolina, Ms. Lauren Durr, and Mr. Anthony Williams, and also instructional leader, Ms. Rachel Kuntz.
We would also like to thank the Faculty Council, who diligently read many applications and essays, conducted interviews in order to determine our class of 2020 National Honor Society members. Thank you to Mr. Kevin Pollock, Ms. Carrie Luba, Ms. Stephanie Sears, Ms. Martha Brunel, and Ms. Emily Pasella. At this time, we would like to introduce you to our 2019 National Honor Society Executive Council, our President, Jesus Rodriguez, Vice President, Christian Pasilla, Secretary, Myrna Sabe, Treasurer, Liam Hogan, and Historian, Sarah Cruz.
Before we have our President, Jesus Rodriguez, take over the ceremony, we would like to take a brief minute to acknowledge what an amazing group of graduating seniors we have. They have stepped up to the challenge set by last year's members and have worked tirelessly all year to contribute back to our community. Some of our most successful events include Habitat for Humanity, our Veterans Day celebration, our Adopt a Family, and our upcoming Cha-Cha-Chuck and Family Fun Day on May 11th. As always, it will be bittersweet to see them graduate, but we are confident that they will continue this dedication to service beyond high school.
With that said, we are looking forward to working with the group of National Honor Society members being inducted into our chapter tonight. Many of them have already shown their dedication to the chapter and its ideals by volunteering at the Middletown City Cleanup this past weekend. Now, we would like to call on Jesus Rodriguez, our 2019 President of Middletown High School National Honor Society, to officially begin our ceremony.
The annual induction ceremony of the Middletown Honor Society is now called to order. Tonight, we will induct 50 new members into the National Honor Society. On behalf of our members, I welcome you all and thank you for being here for this special evening. Parents, teachers, and invited guests, please stand and welcome the graduating class of 2019. Now, please welcome the National Honor Society induction class of 2019, the graduating class of 2020. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors by the ROTC and the Pledge of Allegiance by Christian Pacia, our Vice President.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Our first speaker tonight will be our Superintendent, Mr. Richard Delmore.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to speak at this event, since it's usually the first awards celebratory event of the school term as we end this school term. But I'd like to welcome everyone, say good evening to all. I'd like to start by welcoming all of the guests here tonight. Parents, guardians, brothers, sisters, grandparents, family members, and distinguished young scholars, the seniors and also the new inductees. I am honored and privileged to help you celebrate this wonderful occasion. This evening represents both the end of the journey of our graduating seniors here at MHS, as well as the beginning of an exciting time for our young scholars, our new inductees, as they begin their very exciting journey to senior year of high school. The purpose of the National Honor Society has four main components, four goals, if you will: to create enthusiasm for leadership, to stimulate a desire to volunteer for service to the community, scholarship, and to develop character in the student. Our new inductees are being honored here tonight for their achievements in character, service, leadership, and scholarship. But we must give credit where credit is due. A significant reason we are here tonight is because of the love, support, guidance, influence, and impact of all of the parents and guardians, family members, friends, faculty advisors, teachers and administrators. Tonight is one of those times we are here to celebrate the accomplishments of these young people, but we're also here to realize the impact that positive, caring, meaningful relationships have in our success and ability to achieve. On behalf of the inductees, I want to thank you, all of you, for being here this evening. Tonight, inductees, you will take an oath into this prestigious society and promise to maintain your scholarship standing, as well as develop your leadership and citizenship. In addition, you will be required to serve your community by helping others. This solemn oath needs to guide you well beyond graduation night, June 26, 2020. In the blink of an eye, it will be in front of you. As your journey in life continues, you will have endless opportunities to further your scholarship and growth. Take full advantage of every single one of these opportunities. This journey will provide you boundless ways to continue to build the character in which you have so aptly displayed in order for you to be here this evening. Stay true to these qualities and your oath. It will guide you into a fantastic, rewarding future. Congratulations to you and your achievements in the 4 virtues I have spoken about. Your parents, guardians, and family members have good reason to be very proud of you as scholars and celebrate you here tonight as you richly deserve. But do not dwell on these accomplishments forever. Always strive to develop and be an individual of great character who will seek to help the less fortunate and to be the instrument, true instrument, the change agent, if you will, to make the changes to better the society and the world we live in today. Thank you again for inviting me to speak here tonight and welcome you. It's been my pleasure. Good luck and best wishes for an exciting future.
Thank you, Mr. Del Moro. Our keynote address will be delivered by Mr. William Donahue, Instructional Leader for Humanities and former Social Studies teacher and department chair.
For those that don't understand, it always helps to have an auditory cue to bring class to attention. But anyway, good evening, and thank you to the 2019 National Honor Society graduating class for selecting me to give your keynote speech. This is a bittersweet moment for me. I am honored and humbled that you have chosen me to deliver this speech. And I also note with some sadness that this outgoing class represents the last group that knew me as a teacher. For the inductees, please allow me to introduce myself, or rather, let me explain who I am not. I'm not a dean. I'm not a substitute teacher. I'm not the collaborative space guy. I don't supervise the cafeteria. My name is Mr. Donahue, and as Jesus said, I am a former global teacher and current instructional leader for the humanities. Furthermore, to the inductees, I wanted to take the opportunity to congratulate you. This is a momentous achievement and recognition of your diligence, character, determination, and willingness to employ your talents in the service of others. Your hard work to this point has earned you admission to this prestigious society to continue on the traditions and legacy of all those that came before you. You have big shoes to fill, but I am confident you will rise to the occasion. And to our outgoing members, I wanted to pick up where we left off. Does anyone remember the conversation we had in the last 10 minutes on the last day of class? Let's revisit that. No, it was not the conversation where I was demanding to know who stole the middle of my bell for the 100th time, rendering it useless, or challenging certain students to answer questions without referencing the word appeasement, you know who you are, or demanding to know who was responsible for photoshopping my head onto yet another famous historical figure. No, this conversation was more of a challenge. For those that forgot, my challenge to all of you was to refuse to define yourself by other people's definitions of you, to take a chance and be willing to work hard to get what you want. It's been almost 2 years since then, and judging by the accomplishments of those sitting before me in the school plays and musicals, the art world, a multitude of other recognitions, and the 200 or 300 recommendation letters that I was asked to write, seriously, it was a lot. You took that charge seriously. And now you embark on a new journey, one that will take you into the next chapter of your life. Many of you have mixed feelings of excitement, anxiety, enthusiasm, and fear of the unknown. Whether you're going to college, starting a career, or entering the military, the one guarantee is things will be different. And in uncertain times, as we try to make sense and predict what lies before us, we can look to history as a guide. Specifically, the three main themes of history. Does anyone remember? Oh, thank you. I'm so happy you guys did that. I was really taking a chance. People, power, and geography, for those that have forgotten. So first of all, let's talk about geography. Geography will absolutely play a big role. For instance, anyone going to Albany? Okay, we have quite a lot. My alma mater. You will notice that the sun seems to disappear in November and does not reappear again until sometime in mid-April. In terms of power, you will have more than you have had in your life. For the first time, you are in control of decisions. When to wake up for class or work, when to study, whether to study at all, and on with decisions that you may or may not have yet had control over. If you remember nothing else from this speech, remember this: doing laundry should not be a choice. If not for your sake, then for the sake of those around you. But as either Voltaire or the Spider-Man franchise, depending on your source, has taught us, with great power comes great responsibility. And remember, past self never has to answer for his or her decisions. Always think of future self when confronted with difficult choices. And finally, people. You will encounter many new and different people along the way. Some like you, some with very different experiences. Some will become lifelong friends, but you will also encounter naysayers. I would like to tell you that your path will be all sunshine and rainbows, but as anyone who's studied history, literature, watched Game of Thrones or Endgame will tell you, that is not always the case. My advice when you encounter naysayers is to treat them like buzzing flies. Not literally, don't swat anyone, keep your hands to yourself. Perhaps your biggest naysayer is you. I do not have a tremendous amount of regrets, but I do have one. And I wanted to share that with you. Some of you have heard this. For others, it's just kind of a lesson in sharing something that happened. As college was nearing a close and I was trying to decide what it was I wanted to do with my life, the idea of attending law school was one that I had. And in those thoughts, the naysayer in me won out. I thought, law school will be too hard, I'm not ready for it. You know, I could never possibly do it, it's just something that's out of my range. And so my regret does not come from choosing education, quite the contrary. I have no doubt made the right choice. I love my profession, it's rewarding, fulfilling. My regret comes from not even trying. So learn from my mistake. You have all been well prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. You made the decision to push yourself to achieve at a high level and had the courage to do so again and again. Adversity will always be part of the process. Everyone does not take the same path or always meet with the success immediately, and that is okay. Steve Jobs, the company he founded, it was looking to be reorganized. He left the company, he resigned, came back, and we know how that story ended. Apple became one of the most lucrative, innovative, and disruptive corporations in history. Find your passion and pursue it, if not as a career, then as a hobby. Never stop learning and doing the things that make you happy. Do not look at the next phase as a checklist of things you must do. Too many times we focus on the finish line and end up missing the entire race. Repeat this too many times, and before you know it, you're 20 years older and wish you had slowed down at points and really enjoyed the journey. Here's another one. Put down the phone once in a while. I know the Snapchat and Instabook are really important communication tools, but consider just enjoying a sunset or the sky in a clear night without documenting it. You won't regret it. Remember also to put some good back in the world. Paying attention to current events can make it seem like the world is out of control. But always remember that you have the power to change that, more so than any other group of young people have had before you. Start with small acts of kindness when no one is looking. They add up and they're contagious. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to end by saying thank you. For my former students, thank you for being willing to put up with my bad jokes, my loud voice, and my boisterous personality. Not that you have a choice, but I appreciate it nonetheless. And to all the students sitting before me, thank you for your wonderment. Thank you for your curiosity, your willingness to always do what was asked with minimal grumbling. And thank you for challenging myself and all the colleagues you see before me to be at our best every single day. You are well prepared for success in the next phase of your life. Attack it with great vigor and let nothing stand in your way. I am proud of all of you and look forward to seeing where life's journey takes you. Thank you and have a great night. Also, STEM night tomorrow, 6 to 8, right here in Middletown High School. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue. Membership in the Middletown chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by the effective demonstration of 4 qualities held in high esteem by the Society: character, scholarship, leadership, and service. Tonight, our members will review these qualities. I would like to call forward our Vice President, Christian Pasilla, to review the first ideal, character.
Character is the force within each individual which distinguishes that person from others. It gives each of us our individuality. It is that without which no one can respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life and, when developed, grows steadily. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant action, striving daily to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be in reality what we wish to appear to others. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we may hope to prove by example that we value character.
I now call forward our Secretary, Myrna Sabe, who will review our second ideal, scholarship.
Scholarship means a commitment to learning. It goes beyond formal education to the quest for knowledge for the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. Knowledge is one great element in life, and it can only be acquired through diligence and effort. Education is therefore a never-ending endeavor. We continue to learn and develop throughout our lives. Learning helps us understand the past and illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
I now call forward our Treasurer, Liam Hogan, who will review our third ideal, leadership.
Leaders should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking the initiative in class and school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to attain the same objective. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a country, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a significant change to each of our members.
I now call forward our historian, Sarah Cruz, who will review our fourth and last ideal, service.
Service can be described in various ways. In the routine of the day's work, many opportunities arise to help others. Willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or without recognition is the quality we seek in our membership. We are committed to the idea of volunteering our time and abilities to the creation of a better tomorrow. As historian, I would like to show a slide that shows some of our accomplishments from this past year.
Memories fade, but they're never lost. Colors change with time and change of heart. If If I hold on to the memories and use them to guide me, will you be right here beside me? Everything I know is behind me. I'm starting a new life. I just don't want to say goodbye. On everything we know, friends we've made, I don't want to let go. After everything that we have learned, it's our time now, it's our turn. If I hold on to the memories and use them to guide me, will you be right here beside me? Everything I know is behind me. I'm starting a new life. I just don't want to say goodbye. The lights go dim as we suddenly see it's time to find who we're meant to be. We couldn't wait for this to end. Now we wish we can start again. If I hold on to the memories and use them to guide me, will you be right here beside me? Everything I know is behind me. I'm starting a new life. I just don't want to
Thank you. I'll be brief because you didn't come here to listen to me. I just want to thank these wonderful students for their volunteer spirit, their community activism, and their work ethic this past year in assisting us. To all the parents of these students, you have a wonderful group of students, and I want to wish you all good luck in the future. And I'd like to ask and kind of recognize two students who put in the most hours this past year. So if Matthew and Colin could come up here. Matthew, a little bit appreciation and gratitude from us. Thank you on behalf of Habitat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. It is now my pleasure to invite the most inspiring teachers and special guests of the National Honor Society's graduate members up to the stage. In addition to acknowledging their most inspiring teachers, who are usually teachers chosen from the high school, graduate members were reminded that education is a kindergarten through high school endeavor, and they were encouraged to invite special guests and teachers from before their high school years. I would now like to call up our graduate members to be recognized. As some of you may notice, there are a few changes made to the program. However, I'd like to point out that our advisors made a big effort to make sure that the program would really, it would reflect the future plans of a few students, but of course, us indecisive teens had to mess everything up. So how about a round of applause for our advisors? So our first graduating member is Jason Albanez, attending SUNY Orange, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. O'Connor and Mr. William Donahue. We also have Juliana Amelbert, attending Delaware Valley University, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. L. Calvin and Mr. T. Butts. Next is Anna Birmingham, attending SUNY Albany, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Gaetano and Ms. Chalusian. Michaela Bolson, attending the Rochester Institute of Technology, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Sweetser and Mrs. O'Connor. Next, we have Kabir Burgos, who is attending SUNY Oswego, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Pecora and Mr. Sweetser. Sierra Carrasquillo, attending SUNY Cobleskill, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Duzaminski and Mrs. Lichtenstein. Elizabeth Cartwright, attending SUNY Purchase, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Sweet and Miss Parisi. Miranda Cobo, attending SUNY Cortland, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. DeRosa and Mrs. Vandermark. Andrea Cortez, attending NYU, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Menez and Mr. Johansson. Sarah Cruz, attending SUNY Buffalo, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. McDonald and Mrs. Rodriguez. Alejandra Esquivias, attending Ramapo College of New Jersey, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Adam Brazil and Mr. Roche. Lizzie Favors, attending Adelphi University, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Sweet and Mrs. Duzaminski. Adriana Garcia, attending SUNY Cortland, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Munger and Ms. Shalusian. Natalie Gomez, attending SUNY Albany, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Menez and Mr. William Donahue. Casey Hill, attending SUNY Albany, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Blond and Mr. William Donahue. Liam Hogan, attending Syracuse University, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Blond and Mr. William Donahue. Ayana Latour Smalls, attending SUNY Albany, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. William Donahue and Mrs. Koros. Marianne Lindeman, attending SUNY Albany, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Sweet and Mrs. Luba. Christian Lopez, attending Clarkson University, whose inspiring teachers are Mr. Gerace and Mr. Kevin Pollock. David Menzies, attending New York Institute of Technology, inspiring teachers Mrs. Sears and Mr. William Donahue. Brianna Morrison, attending SUNY Albany, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Thomas and Mrs. Parisi. Marvin Mungo, attending SUNY Albany, whose inspiring teachers are Mrs. Gar and Mrs. Sweet. Isaiah Oliveria, attending LIU Post, inspiring teachers Mr. Bennett and Mr. Test.
Next, we have Matthew Almeida attending SUNY Orange, and inspiring teachers Mr. Sweetster and Mrs. Frank. We have Teofi Opejo attending Pace University, and inspiring teachers Mr. Massey and Miss Grazino. Sorry. We have Christian Pasia attending SUNY Binghamton, inspiring teachers Mr. Brinson and Mrs. Harkins. Christopher Padilla attending SUNY Albany, inspiring teachers Mr. Finch and Mrs. Dowdy. Darian Pitt attending University of Albany, inspiring teachers Miss Parisi and Miss Youngins. Michael Rivera attending SUNY Albany, inspiring teachers Mrs. Munger and Mrs. Calvin. Jesus Rodriguez attending Massachusetts Institute of Technology, inspiring teachers Mr. Blond and Mr. Brinson. Michael Rooser, who is currently undecided, but his inspiring teachers are Mr. Merchant III and Mr. William Donahue. Myrna Sabit, attending University of St. Joseph, inspiring teachers Miss Babin and Miss Schulzer. Rokia Sangari, attending Hunter College, and inspiring teachers Mr. Bobel and Mr. Pollock. Angel Starr, attending SUNY New Paltz, inspiring teachers Mr. Brinson and Mr. Hayner. Colin Strout, attending Rochester Institute of Technology, inspiring teachers Mr. Sweetster and Miss Bird. Ayana Walters, attending SUNY Purchase, inspiring teachers Mr. Araug and Mr. Johansson. And last but not least, Emily Whitby attended the College of St. Rose, inspiring teachers Ms. Bavin and Mrs. Cutler.
Thank you, and let's congratulate our inspiring teachers and special guests. Our next speaker will be our principal, Ms. Sorrentino.
Oh my goodness. Good evening. Thank you all for coming out tonight to such an auspicious occasion. I would first like to take a moment to recognize my faculty and staff for everything they do. Not only my amazing ones that are here tonight being recognized by this great group of students, but for all of my teachers and my staff members who work hard each and every day to bring us to this height. Thank you for everything that you do for our students. To my seniors, this is the start of that season. The season where I get to send you off. Please remember how much you matter. And you do. I'm very, very proud of you, and I can't wait to see the young men and women and accomplished people you will become. Stay true to your voice. Develop it, grow it, be influenced by it. Find your passion, find your feet. At the end of the story, at the end of the journey, it's who you are that you bring to the world that makes us so very, very proud of you. Home is here, it will always be. Go out and make your story. I'm only gonna cry like 5 more times before you guys go. Oh, to my juniors. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and you wear the crown. Please understand what a crown represents in Middletown. It represents honor, strength, and giving back. It's your responsibility as a chosen leader to make your mark by serving and supporting all of those around you. And as you saw in the most amazing video, by the way, I will say one of the best, thank you, technological development. You will see not only events here within our learning community and our school, but also in our world, in our community, because that's what it's about. As you grow into adults, both groups, please note, it's not about your fame, your fortune. It's about what you can do to make the world a better place with the talents that you have, and holy moly, you have several. Use it, and use it well. To our parents and families, I cannot thank you enough for everything that you've supported, you've grown, you've reinforced, and what you sent to us. You sent to us a most amazing set of young people, and they stand before you today, young adults ready to take on the challenges of the future before us. So thank you, have a great night, And congratulations to our new inductees.
Thank you, Ms. Sorrentino. It is now time to welcome and induct our new members into National Honor Society. Inductees, as you hear your name is called, please come up to the stage, sign the National Honor Society scroll, marking your place in the history of the society at Middletown High School, and then receive your certificate. Our first inductee, Kiara Abreu. Yasmin Ashton. Esther Augustin. Krista Berry. Danielle Boucher. Kimberly Campos Ortiz. Israel Castillo. Ashley Chavez. Luasia Cooper. Daniela Carano. Faustina Elia. Oluwaseyi Fadero. Renea Fedelicio. Olivia Ferraro. Denise Figueroa. Madison Figueroa. Julia Fitzgerald. Scott Franco. Areli Garrido. Marlena Glickman. Alexandra Grieve. Layevska Giddy. Nathan Halsey. Fernando Hernandez. Crystal Johnson. Gracie Jones. Ariana Kerr. Kevin Lindeman. Katie Lynch. Sydney McGrain. Sitlali Marin. Melissa Norman. Ashley Olagbemi. Melanie Ortiz. Veda Ortiz. Marcus Pluas. Shelby Ramgulam. Brian Ramos. Araceli Reyes. Carly Solomon. Joshua Sam. Antonia Sanchez. Lizbeth Sanchez Reyes. Ariana Savarino. Destiny Smalls. Alexander Torres. Abriana Basil. Helen Washington. Stanley Zen. Allison Zulik. This is the induction class of 2019, the graduating class of 2020. This candle represents the light of eternal knowledge, an emblem of the National Honor Society. It was first described by E.J. Easton, one of the members of the first National Honor Council. He said, "The emblem of this society is a keystone and flaming torch. The keystone bears at its base the letters CSLS, which stand for the four cardinal principles of its organization: character, scholarship, leadership, and service. As the keystone is placed by the builder to hold a perfect arch in perpetual stability, so the structure of our education must be held firm and true to the purposes of life by the virtues represented in this symbol. To bear forward the searching light burning in our school, a high ambition for the enduring values of life and to serve, these purposes are symbolized in the torch." Here at Middletown High School, the keystone for future success has been laid. We, as graduating members of National Honor Society, now pass on this light to you, the inductees, to fan its flame so that it may burn bright. Tonight, you become a part of the tradition and the history of the National Honor Society at Middletown High School. It is your responsibility to build on the foundation and to keep the light burning. Parents, if you would kindly refrain from taking pictures now, you will have an opportunity after the pledge. As the final step of your induction into the Middletown chapter of the National Honor Society, I instruct you to raise your right hand and repeat our society pledge. Please repeat after me. I pledge myself to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society to which I have been selected. Striving in every way by word and deed to make its ideals the ideals of the school and of my life. Parents, this is your photo op. Take your pictures now. Congratulations to the newest members of the Middletown chapter of the National Honor Society. As current members, we wish you the best of luck as you continue to uphold the pillars of community, scholarship, leadership, and service. This concludes the annual induction ceremony of the Middletown chapter of the National Honor Society. National Honor Society members will now lead the procession into the theater lobby. Will the graduating class of 2019 please exit? Will the graduating class of 2020 please exit? Would the inspiring teachers / special guests please exit?